Parenting without support is one of the hardest and loneliest things a mom can walk through. I know because I've lived it. For years, I carried the weight of raising children without nearby family to lean on or rely on, without a village to swoop in and help when things got hard, and without a husband's help because in our situations, my husband worked long days and evenings for the first 12 years of our parenting journey. The loneliness can feel crushing at times, I know. But here's what I've learned. Even in the middle of that loneliness, there are hidden blessings. No intrusive opinions, less bad advice to sift through, less judgment, and more togetherness and positivity with your children. So much so that as they grow, they become your very favorite people. As we chat about this, I thought I'd do some cozy homemaking and cooking. I have some wonderful autumn recipes to share with you today, including easy instant pot risotto. That happens to be the best risotto I've ever made. Cheesy chicken, mushroom, and bacon chicken, and a family recipe. Some apple fritters. I'll also be making Play-Doh with my kids. Got a simmer pot to show you, and I'll be decorating the entry. So stick around to the end for experienced encouragement and renewed hope in your homemaking motherhood journey. The first tip that I have for you is to pray about your situation and analyze it, because you might actually have support that you're just not seeing because you're trying to pound a square peg into a round hole. Let me explain. If you're feeling wholly unsupported, it's time to start praying about where you are investing your time and energy. This lesson took me 15 years to learn and accept that part of my lack of support was actually my own darn fault because, well, bear with me while I explain. Loneliness is always made worse when instead of being encouraged, we are discouraged. When we keep investing people who don't support us, it can be very discouraging. Now, investing, it can look like spending every holiday with people who don't support you, who maybe make fun of you and your life choices, and consistently carving out time to spend with people when they do absolutely nothing for you. Going to a church that is draining and judgmental or even spiritually abusive instead of building. All of these things can be investing in the wrong people, the wrong places, and it can leave you completely unsupported. For years, I poured so much energy, time, and thought into the wrong relationships, hoping for love, support, acceptance, and closeness. But instead, I got gaslighting. We got gaslighting. Criticism, manipulation, and even emotional abuse. I remember 2 days in particular. One day, I realized that after years of looking, trying, and longing, that my husband and I and our family, we were never going to have the friendships or level of support in the community that we were living in. And that's when we decided to move. Now, this was huge. It took a huge leap of faith. We moved our family of 8 with a newborn baby in tow, nearly 2,000 miles away. Immediately, we were surrounded in loving support. In 2 months' time, we were invited to more homes than we were our entire time living in the community we lived in before. But still, I can be a slow person to let go of some things. I still kept pouring into some specific people that happened to be extended family that I deeply wanted connection with, but they weren't supportive at all. The painful words and actions from those people, it had no end, and after a couple years, I remember being in so much pain, and it hit me one day. Shayla, you have a choice. You can waste your energy and time trying to force these people to love you, or you can invest in finding people who actually do already love you and support you. That shift wasn't just freeing, but it changed our lives. It was the best choice I could have made for my children, and I want to let you know you have the same choice. I realized I had been so obsessed with making relationships that were never going to work that I was missing time and friendships and support with people who had been standing by all along, just waiting to love and enjoy time with me and my family. So to recap my first tip, analyze where you're investing your time. What relationships are you investing in that are making you feel unsupported? And what relationships could you maybe instead invest in that would build your support system? I want to take a little coffee break and tell you about something special. If you're a mama without a village, You need to know about an app I found that can save your sanity around meal times. Last month I shared how I found a new app called Recime that completely eliminated mealtime overwhelm for our whole family. As a mom of 6 and a family of 8, that's saying a lot. I really wish I had found it sooner, like when I was an overwhelmed young mama juggling babies and mealtimes all by myself while my husband was working those long, hard hours. When I found this app, I immediately got so excited that I shared it with all of my friends that have families that are cooking for their families. I shared it with my mom, I think even my aunt. And I did all of this before I even reached out to the Recime app people to invite them to collaborate with me here today. That's how excited the app made me. As a family of 8, those of us who are old enough to cook in the family love this app so much. Today I wanted to show you a little more about how it works and how it can help simplify your life too. Here's why Recime works so well for our family. You can save your favorite recipes in one place. No more hunting through social media posts, lost notes, trying to find what website was it I found that recipe on every time you want to cook something. Everything you want to cook is right here, ready when you need it. For example, here are the recipes we'll be making today. Let's start with this Instant Pot risotto from our salty kitchen. I want to keep this recipe forever. It was that good. I never want to lose it. So here is how I'll save it. It's so simple. You just simply go to the website or the blog, find the recipe. Once you found it, you tap the share button, find the Recime app in your apps, and tap the Recime app. That's it. Recime instantly analyzes the recipe, scans it, and stores it in the cookbook of your choice. Speaking of cookbooks, let me explain that. Recime lets you organize all of your recipes into categories called cookbooks. So I have one for salads, for example. I have one for sides, one for dinners, one for breakfasts, one for heritage recipes. Another way that I love using Recime is when I have random ingredients lying around and I'm not sure what to do with them. I just go to the app, type into the search bar whatever those ingredients are, and instantly all of my saved recipes with those ingredients pop up. I can quickly sift through our favorites that I've saved, quickly decide what to make. Grocery lists could not be easier. Literally, you can make a grocery list in just a couple taps. So you import any recipe from social media or online, or maybe a recipe from one of your cookbooks, like you see my cookbooks behind me here. I can open one of them up, take a picture, Recime will scan it, save it for me, and from that I can make a grocery list. It saves me so much time and mental energy.
If you want to know more ways that Recime can save your meal preparation and planning time, stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to show you how to make complete grocery lists with 2 clicks. I'll share how we use it to effortlessly meal plan and more ways the app can be used, including counting macros and keeping track of protein intake. For my next tip, we're going to talk about dealing with interruptions. But before we dive into that, let me tell you what's happening in these scenes. I am making some apple fritters. This is a family recipe, so I like to call it a heritage recipe. I remember the first time I had these, I was instantly, these are so good. I don't deep fry them. You could deep fry them. I like to just fry them kind of like pancakes. You can make up a whole big batch of these and have them as breakfasts for a couple days through the week. They also freeze well. The ingredients are super simple. It's just flour, salt, milk, sugar, matchstick sliced apples, eggs, and baking powder. I will put the recipe in the description box below for you. And I'll try to get it up on the blog too, so you can have a printable version. All right, let's talk about dealing with interruptions. If there is one guarantee in motherhood, it is interruptions. You finally start folding the laundry and someone needs a snack. You sit down to pay bills and the baby wakes up. You try to mop the floor and suddenly a little stampede of feet come running through. And of course, with muddy shoes. Here's what I've learned. Instead of fighting interruptions, plan for them. Expect they'll happen. Build margin into your day by setting a couple of main goals with buffer time. And there are going to be some things that you're going to need to learn to let go of. Let's take house cleaning, for example. When I only had little kids and we lived in a tiny house, cleaning took about 2 hours if I had no interruptions. But as the kids started to multiply, and with the kids around, those 2 hours stretched into 5. That's why I would set aside one day of the week, Friday, as my house cleaning day. I picked Friday because I wanted a nice clean house for the weekend. Now, unless I had just had a baby or if I had a newborn, I would skip those house cleaning days, of course. But typically Fridays were for housework. On that day, I planned for nothing else, just cleaning the house, making sure meals were on the table, and being a present mother.
That rhythm helped me stay sane because I expected the interruptions and I didn't try to do extra things on top of cleaning the house. When interruptions would come, I learned over time to pause and breathe and remind myself that the child is more important than the task. Yes, the laundry matters, the dishes matter, getting food on the table on time matters, but so does the heart that needs a little hug or the little voice asking a question. Okay, here is a bonus tip for moms of babies. I'm going to expand more on this whole topic in a second, but I do want to throw this in here because it fits right now. Sometimes baby wearing just doesn't work. I'm a huge believer in baby wearing, but in my case, I had back issues and I could not wear mine for very long in a sling. But we do know, science has told us babies need to be held, but sometimes you need both hands for a project. So I discovered something that worked. Instead of picking my baby up every time they would come up to me wanting to be picked up, I learned that a lot of times they just wanted to be picked up because they wanted to see what I was doing, which is a good thing. And if you can baby wear for that, it's great for the kids. And they learn so much. But if you can't baby wear, here's what you can do instead. I found that instead of picking up the baby while I was in the middle of a task that I needed two hands for, I would just sit down right where I was on the floor. The baby would crawl into my lap, get their little cuddle fix for a minute or two, and then, almost without fail, they would spot something far more interesting than me, and they would crawl off to go play. Another practical way to handle babies is to keep a little basket or a bin of toys or activities that they can do, and when you need to get something done, you pull out that basket. And the only time they get that basket is when you're in the middle of a project and you really need to get it finished. Like dinner, for example. Let's say it's going to burn if you don't stay on top of it. Okay, that's a perfect time to bring out a little bin of toys that are only reserved for when you need to get things done. Now, these usually don't buy you very much time, but they can give you a little bit of time. In this way, I was able to comfort them and give them the loving they needed and then finish my work without the endless cycle of pick up, cry, put down. All right, back on the topic of dealing with interruptions specifically while cleaning the house. Now we have a much larger home, about 4 times the size of the little house that we used to have. And we don't have tiny babies. Things look a lot different. Our dynamics are different, but the principle is the same. Interruptions, they are a part of motherhood, and planning for them makes all the difference. So now we take house cleaning at a very different angle. We split a lot of the tasks up throughout the week. For example, we have a couple days a week where we sweep the floor, a couple days a week where the stairs are swept. We don't try to do everything on one day anymore. And this is what works for us now that we're a larger family with older kids and even adult kids. Oh, guess what showed up here? Sweater weather. Tip 3 is for when it feels like there's just never enough time. One of the most common feelings in motherhood, especially when you're parenting without support, is that there's just never enough time. The truth is that this feeling usually comes from trying to squeeze too much into our days without accounting for the reality of parenthood. We plan our to-do lists as if we don't have children underfoot, and we plan out everything for the amount of time it would take if there were not children, and then we feel like failures when the day doesn't go as planned and most of our to-do list doesn't get done. But here is the freeing truth. You're not failing, you're simply trying to do way too much. When I finally learned to plan less and leave space for parenthood, motherhood felt lighter. I could breathe again, and I want the same for you. That's why when you sign up for my newsletter, I'll send you a free step-by-step program to help you work through this exact struggle. It will guide you in creating rhythms that actually fit your life as a mom instead of adding more guilt or pressure. You don't have to stay stuck in the cycle of never enough time. With a few simple shifts, you can reclaim peace in your home and heart. And here's the best part. When you pour love, time, teaching, and energy into your young children, when you focus on tying heartstrings and building a good relationship with them, it has a way of paying off later. All those things you once felt were so important but had to let go of for a season, many of them, the most important ones, have a way of coming back to you with interest. For example, when my kids were really little, I had to let go of a lot of my homesteading dreams and activities, but it's all coming back to me now. The investment you make in your children today will yield a harvest of joy, closeness, and trust in years to come. You see, I've got younger kids, but I also have adult kids now. Not only do we have a wonderful relationship most of the time, my oldest son is learning to run our homestead and farm. My daughter's learning to can, and we enjoy spending time together doing that and getting the jobs done twice as fast. Those years of raising the little ones and feeling like you're never getting anything done. As a large family mom, I know them well, but I also know they go by painfully fast. While I make lunch, my little guy is working on his handwriting.
Systems are really important, I found, to making homeschooling and homemaking work along with everything else. So one of the systems that I like to try to have in place is a big Monday cooking marathon. The kids are all doing primarily independent schoolwork, but by having independent school days with subjects that the kids can do on their own, they can do those while I get some food made for the week.
Notice over in the corner the messy milk basket and shoes piled in front of the door, just a few feet in front of the door. I think one of the hardest things for me to learn over the last 20 years is the balance of when to let some things go, kick up my feet, and do things like create a beautiful experience for the family versus when to say, okay, we got to clean this up. And there truly is a balance because the to-do list never goes away. It's always there. It only grows. If you don't learn to carve out a time to create special little rest moments in the chaos, you will end up with a very dysregulated nervous system where your nerves are always on edge and you are never getting any rest and always running on fumes. So something I've learned is to take a Sabbath day where I'm not racing around for half the day, getting my family ready to go to church or anywhere. A Sabbath day where I do what the Bible said and rest. I did a whole video on this. I will link to it here in the cards and in the description box below. You might think, I can't take a Sabbath day because I've got all these little kids and I still have to cook for them and tend to them every day of the week. I don't get a break. So what I used to do when all of my kids were little is I would clean the house on Friday. On Saturday, I would do a whole bunch of cooking. I don't get as much time to do this as I used to. The dynamic of having teenagers, middle school age children, and then younger children, I will admit it's a lot, but for most families in most situations that don't have children spread over so many years, and for most people in general, this system is a really good one. Just on Saturday or perhaps on Friday, if you like to take a Saturday Sabbath, get the cooking done. Make some dishes that all you have to do is just pop in the oven or reheat, and from there, start training your family. Train your family that this is a Sabbath day. On the Sabbath day, we rest. Now, there are times as a larger family mom with as many kids as I have spread across such a wide variety of ages as I do, plus having a farm, there are many weeks where we don't get a Sabbath day, but it is always the goal. And when we can get that day of rest in, where we do as minimal amount of work as possible, those days are like supercharging days. The week after a Sabbath day is always like ultra productive, and I get way more done. Our hearts, our nervous systems, our bodies were not made to go, go, go. And the Sabbath day is a scriptural
simple solution to reset. On our Sabbath day, we even let the house go a little bit. We might have like one tidy up time on the Sabbath day if it gets too bad, but for the most part, we just rest. Come Monday morning, we spend about 20 minutes tidying up after our weekend. But this simple practice actually helps me and always has helped me to get more done with kids around.
Everybody's done with everything except for reading?
No, I still need to do.
I want to show you more about how Recime can simplify meal times for overwhelmed moms. When we left off, I was telling you about how it can help you make grocery lists.
I'm going to show you how we can create grocery lists. Let's say we have our meal plan. You can hit these three little dots right here and you can add to the grocery list. You can go through and you can select which recipes that you know you need the ingredients for, and you can click next. And then it's going to double check with you, make sure you want to add all of these ingredients from all of these recipes to your shopping list. So you can add 63 items, or you can go through and you can take some things off that you know you already have. But another way you can add things to the grocery list is directly from the recipe. You can hit groceries directly in the recipe, and then you can select what you need to add. You can also change the proportions. So let's say you're making this for 8 people instead of 6. So you would just click this and see it changed all the ingredient proportions that you need. You can plan your week's meals with Recime. You can do this 2 different ways. One way is to go straight to the meal plan tab and choose breakfast, lunch, or dinner for each day. Another way is to browse your cookbooks. Let's say you go to breakfast, your cookbook breakfast category. Pick a recipe, click the meal plan button at the top, and then assign it to as many days as you want. Super easy, especially if you love a recipe and want to cook it more than once in a week. So let's say you find a recipe and you want to put it on the menu plan for the week. Go to the recipe and just click meal plan right there at the top, and you can put it on whatever days that you want. You can go dinner. All right, since we have older kids in the house, including 2 adults, I can easily say to them, hey, can you make dinner tonight? All they have to do is open the app, look at the meal plan, and find today's recipe and get cooking. Recime even lets you adjust the serving size, which is probably one of my favorite features because I used to spend so much time multiplying recipes and writing down, okay, let's see, the recipe is made for 2 people, so I need to transpose this recipe for 8, and that took time. So whether you're cooking for 2 or cooking for 8, the app automatically updates the ingredients with just a couple clicks. Another neat thing about Recime is it breaks the instructions down that you need to follow in a couple different ways. You have a couple options with this. It either breaks them down step by step, so you can hit next and it will show you the next step just in one step, or you can look at all of the steps as a whole visual. My older kids prefer the whole visual, while my tween, who loves cooking, he prefers the step by step. Honestly, with my ADHD brain, I prefer the step by step too. It helps keep me on track without being overwhelming. Something else I discovered this week is that you can drag and drop recipes inside your weekly meal plan to move them around. So if plans change, it's no stress at all. Recime lets you track recipes, meals, and health. So Recime isn't just about dinner. It helps keep you on track with your nutrition and macros goals. So at the bottom of any recipe, you can tap Calculate Nutrition and instantly see the protein, carbs, and fats per serving. My oldest son is into bodybuilding, and I've been working on trying to build some muscle myself, so this feature is extremely helpful and epic for us. One more thing that I love that might be my favorite feature of all is that I can scan old family recipes. For example, here's a heritage recipe for my family. I just snap a picture of it, Recime scans it, and saves it perfectly organized. I can adjust the ingredients to feed more people or even share the recipe with others. I went through all of my mom's and my husband's mom's recipes that I have, my grandma's recipes and my great-grandmother's recipes, and I saved all of the favorites, photographed them, and put them in here, and now they're tidy, organized, shareable, and safe forever. Another wonderful thing is you can print the recipes, so you don't have to read it from the app or from a device. If you don't like to, you can actually go to the recipe in your phone that you've saved in Recime
and you can select print and it will print the recipe for you. So if you've ever felt that dinner time overwhelm like I used to every single night, Recime just might be the tool you need. It has truly simplified our meal times for our family, and I think that it could do the same for yours.